All right, so get ready, because today we're diving into Cardano.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to be clear about this, this isn't like a Cardano for newbies kind of thing. We're going way deeper than that.
Yeah, way
We're
deeper.
talking about like the fundamental vision, the big picture stuff. And to do that, we're going right to the source, a paper from 2017 by Cardano's founder, Charles Hoskinson.
Yeah, why we are building Cardano. And honestly, this isn't your typical dry technical document.
Oh, definitely not.
It's more like, I don't know, almost like a philosophical statement about the future of money and tech.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about how Cardano works right now. It's about the core principles, the guiding ideas that they think are going to like shape the entire financial landscape for years and years to come.
It's super ambitious.
Totally. And one of the biggest ideas, and they hit on this early on, is this whole thing about separating the accounting part of a blockchain from the computation part.
Yeah, that's like their bread and butter right there.
So can you break that down for us? What does that even mean?
Okay, so think of it like this.
Okay.
You're building a skyscraper, right? You wouldn't just like start stacking floors without an incredibly strong foundation.
Right.
That's what Cardano is doing with this whole two-layer system. The Cardano settlement layer, or CSL, that's the bedrock. That's what handles like the basic accounting of the blockchain.
So like who sent how much to whom?
Exactly. Simple, secure, rock solid.
It's like the digital ledger we always hear about.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really cool.
Mm.
On top of that foundation, they've got this whole other layer, the Cardano computation layer, or CCL. This is where you can get really complex with things.
So all the really complicated stuff goes on up there.
Exactly. Smart contracts, advanced transactions, all sorts of crazy applications. And the beauty is it doesn't weigh down that super secure CSL foundation at all.
So it's like having different teams of engineers, right?
Yeah.
Working on different parts of the building, making sure each piece is perfect without messing up the other parts.
Exactly. It's all about flexibility and being able to scale things independently.
Because if one part needs an upgrade, they don't want the whole thing to fall apart.
You got it. They can upgrade the smart contract capabilities without ever touching. That core transaction layer, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's like future-proofing. Like they were thinking way ahead about how tech might change.
Absolutely. And this approach is everywhere in Cardano, not just with the two layers.
Give me an example.
Okay, so like their programming language, Haskell.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. What's the deal with Haskell?
Okay, most blockchains, they choose whatever programming language is popular at the time, right?
I guess. I mean, it makes sense, right?
But Cardano's like, nope, we're using Haskell. Haskell is known for being incredibly secure and reliable.
Oh, so that's why they went with it.
It was like the difference between like building a garden shed and building Fort Knox.
Okay, I get it.
Most blockchains are sturdy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Cardano is going for that bank vault level of security.
Smart. And it's not just the programming language either, right? They use that, what was it, formally verified software?
Yeah, formally verified software.
So tell me more about that because it sounds kind of intense.
It is, but in a good way. Okay, imagine this.
Okay.
You're building a bridge, right?
Yeah.
A huge, important bridge.
Yeah.
You would just start welding things together without having an engineer. Check every single blueprint and calculation, would you?
No way, too risky.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what formally verified software is like.
You got engineers checking the code.
Well, not exactly, but close. It's like having a team of those meticulous engineers scrutinizing every single line of code.
Mm.
But they're not just checking it, they're mathematically proving that it does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Wow, so there's like zero room for error.
Pretty much. It's all about minimizing risk,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about people's money.
That makes sense. And speaking of thinking long term, there was this whole thing about a treasury system.
Oh, yeah, that's a really cool aspect of Cardano.
I thought it was really interesting. Can you explain it? It's like they're creating this self-sustaining ecosystem.
Right. So with every transaction on Cardano, a small fee is collected, right?
Right, that's how most blockchains work.
Exactly. But here's the difference. A chunk of that fee doesn't just disappear. It goes into this special fund, this treasury.
Oh, so it's like a community fund.
Exactly. And the Cardano community, they get to decide how that money is used.
So they vote on proposals and stuff.
Yep. It could be anything from funding core development work to supporting new projects and applications.
It's like reinvesting back into the system, making sure it keeps growing.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's a way to ensure the long-term sustainability of Cardano.
It's a cool system. But okay, let's shift gears a bit because we've been talking a lot about the tech. But what about the real world, regulations and all that? Because this whole decentralized finance thing sounds great in theory,
Right, right. Regulation is the elephant in the room for a lot of crypto projects.
Totally. So how is Cardano approaching this?
Okay, so they're not naive about it.
Yeah.
They know regulation is a fact of life, especially in finance,
Yeah.
but they also believe in individual freedom and the power of decentralization.
So how do you balance those two things?
That's the million-dollar question. But they have some ideas. One thing they're looking into is using HSMs.
HSM.
Yeah, hardware security modules.
Okay, maybe you're just using acronyms on me.
Sorry. Basically, imagine an HSM like a super secure digital vault.
Oh.
It can hold really sensitive information and even perform tasks, but it never reveals the underlying data.
So how would that work in practice? Give me a real-world example.
Let's say a regulator wants to make sure you're not in a sanctioned country, right?
Okay, yeah.
An HSM could be used to prove you meet those requirements without you ever having to reveal your passport or anything.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting.
So the regulator gets the verification they need, but your privacy is protected.
Right, okay, I'm starting to see how this could work. But it feels like Cardano's vision goes beyond just navigating regulations, right? I mean, the paper talks a lot about their goals for the developing world. They're talking about giving financial tools to people who, frankly, traditional systems have left behind.
It's like they're trying to leapfrog over decades of slow progress.
Yeah. Like, instead of waiting for these countries to catch up with traditional banking,
Right.
Cardano's like, here's a whole new system.
Exactly. Imagine a farmer in a remote village, right?
Okay.
They can use their phone to get a microloan, store their earnings securely, even participate in global trade.
All on Cardano.
All on Cardano. It's bypassing all the old gatekeepers.
It's a powerful idea. But is that really realistic? I mean, what makes Cardano so well suited for that?
Well, it's a bunch of things.
Okay.
Like, first off, you've got the security and the low fees.
Right, we talked about this.
Those are super important in places where every penny matters, right?
Absolutely.
But it's also that flexibility we were talking about. Remember the CCL?
Yeah, the computation layer.
Right. You can build apps specifically for things like microfinance or supply chain tracking.
So you can tailor it to the specific needs of a community.
Exactly.
It's kind of mind-blowing. It's like they're creating the foundation for a whole new financial system.
It's a big vision.
It is. But this paper, it's from 2017. A lot has changed in crypto since then. Does this vision still hold up?
That's the thing. It does.
Really?
Yeah, Cardano has obviously evolved, right? They've added new features and stuff.
Right.
But the core ideas, the focus on security, sustainability, empowering users, all that is still front and center.
It's like they nailed the fundamentals right from the start.
Exactly. It's not
Yeah.
about chasing hype. It's about building something that lasts.
Okay, so last question then. If they're really serious about this whole self-evolving system thing, can that actually work long term?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. It's like, can a decentralized community guide the development of something this complex for decades, for generations even?
It's a question for the ages.
It really is. Well, listeners, we're going to leave you with that to ponder. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Cardano's vision. It's a project that's got people thinking big about the future, and we're excited to see what happens next.